Hello all. We are going to go back to our discussion. This is the Excel sheet that we had. And here I click on this box which says total X in front of the box, means cell a B17. And I want to add all my expenses from here all the way to here to see how much my expenses are during January. I know that my January total income is 6,000. And let me get the total of my expenses also. While I am on this box, I go to my AutoSum and I click Sum. And as you all see, the marching ants are asking me if I want to add. Do you see here is written Sum parenthesis B9, which is here, all the way through B16, which is here. Is asking me, are you sure you want to add those numbers? Because those are what I want to add, I can click enter and I can see the total. I think the total would come to 2,000. Some students, instead of clicking enter, they go to this AutoSum again and one more time click on sum. Look, it came, the 2,000 came and I saw that. Therefore, I am not going to use AutoSum for all of these. I want to save time. One time I click on this 2,000 and I bring my arrow to the very corner and I drag it all the way through, and look, everything came, and it is correct. Look at this month of August. As you see, my expenses are 2,000 instead of 800. The reason my expenses are so high is because I had a tuition that I paid here and book 1,200 extra I paid, and that's why. Therefore, my formula is working and my AutoSum is working. Look, while this box is here, this 2,000, if I want to know where this number came from, this 2,000, I look at here. Look at here. Do you see it is written sum, and anyhow I click enter to make sure the numbers stay where they are, and therefore so far so good. Now in January I make 6,000. Out of 6,000 I spend $2,000 of it. Therefore, that means, as you all can guess, I will have a net income of 4,000, because 6,000 minus 2,000 is a net income of 4,000, which means in January I am in a good shape. Therefore, I will put NET. Net means that's how much remains in January for me. I put my equal sign. One time I click on 6,000, and then I look at my keyboard. And when I click on 6,000, excuse me, I see the name B6 written in here. As you see here is written B6, which is correct. I didn't type 6,000. All I did, let me do it one more time that you all see. I clicked on this in this box. I put equal sign. When we put an equal sign in Excel, the meaning of it is Excel understands that you want to type a formula. And therefore, I don't want AutoSum because AutoSum adds them. And now I want to subtract them. Because I want to subtract the 2,000 from 6,000, I put my equal sign, and then I look at my keyboard and I find the minus sign. I put equal sign, and then after I put equal sign, at one time I clicked 6,000, where is written 6,000. As soon as I click 6,000, the marching ants goes around 6,000, and the name of B6 appears in here. Look at here, how nicely Excel recognized. After I put that B6, now I want to say the cell B6 minus. I look at the keyboard and one time press on the minus sign, and I see it. As you guess, next thing I want to click on cell B17 where $2,000 is written, and it says that, are you sure? Therefore, this is what I want to do. The equal sign here is telling me that I want to put a formula. B6 is telling I want to put B6, which is 6,000, and say minus this B7, which is 17. I am hoping if I press it, the number 4,000 will appear. Yeah, it appeared. Guess what? I'm going to copy my formula all the way through. That is my numbers, and they look pretty accurate. In the month of February, I make only $200, and $200. And do you see that this 1,000 is, as I said, I am losing some money in August, but I'm not worried about losing a little money because I have 5,200 here, and all this money remains, in my account. And here is my month of December, and then I will go and maybe I want to know how much total I am making. One time I click next to December, means cell entry. I put total and I click enter. And the book sometimes doesn't say click enter. It asks you to click on it considers this sign in here as enter. And when I click on this one, this box doesn't drop down. Look at here. One time I click on this enter, and the boxes stayed the same, but that's okay, no problem. I can one more time click enter, my box comes down, and I click the enter key on my keyboard. Now my goal is to add all these $1,000 to see how much money I make in 1 year. As you know, it's very easy to guess, because if you are making $1,000 in McDonald's every month and you work for 12 months, you'll make $1,200. But they are not going to type. Some students by mistake go there and type that. With you in Excel, you want the formula, but it takes care of it. Which means if I want to add them, I click on this arrow and click sum. Look, Excel already understood that I want the amount of 1,000 for each month be added, and the total, and it is asking me, are you sure you want to add cells B4 all the way through M4? That's what I want. I hope I can see 12,000 there. I click enter and the 12,000 is there. And guess what? I am not going to put more formulas everywhere. I know that if I put my formula here, to say that add this 5,000 and this 5,000 together, and it will give me $10,000 here, I'm not going to use formulas. Now, guess what? I am going to copy my formula, which means one time I click on this 12,000, I bring the arrow to the very corner in here and drag it all the way through in here. And let's see what happens. And what happens is that it's very understandable. This is 12,000 in January. For 1 year I make 10,000 interest. That means total I make $22,000. Excuse me. Now, if these are my expenses here, total expenses that I have, these are, if we add all of these, the total expenses I have is $12,000 in 1 year. Imagine I make 22,000, I spend $12,000 of it, and the total money that I make is now $10,000 in 1 year. Now, when we look at this screen, one thing I am not happy is that this September here is not clear. I don't see the R. Here, to see R in here, I bring my arrow between this J and K, and again I see that solid plus. I drag it a little bit to the right. I can see my September. The same thing is happening to my November, and the same thing is happening to my December. Another thing I am not happy is that these numbers, do you see, are not centered, which how nice it is if I can make all of these centers. I click one time in January, and guess what? I don't bring my arrow to the very corner because I just here, I'm not trying to copy anything. I am just trying to highlight. Anyone you want to highlight, you don't bring your arrow to the corner. You just keep it at the center. And I am highlighting the whole thing in here. And then I click the center button right here. It puts all my numbers and everything centered. And as you all know, if I click on B, it becomes bold. I can change. But for now, so far, so good. My screen is okay. And I got my total budget. And now what I have to do, I want to create a chart, a pie chart for my tuition, for everything, and see them in terms of a pie chart. What I do, I click on 300 and I highlight, I'm sorry, I said 300. I click on my rent and I highlight all the way through miscellaneous. I know something for sure. The most amount of, after I do that, I highlighted that, and then I go back to highlight here, which is the total rent, because I want to see how much my total rent is. I know that it is here, shows me 3,600. That's the most expensive item that I have in this chart. After that, this 2,400 is my car payment or your car payment. Therefore, if I decide to highlight, if I click here, I will lose this highlight. Look at what happens. I click here and I try to highlight it all the way through miscellaneous. I lost my first highlight. I go back again. One time I click on rent. I highlight it all the way through miscellaneous. And in order not to lose my first highlight, I look at my keyboard and hold on with one finger. I hold on to the control key, and then I come back and click on this 3,600, and then I highlight it all the way through 1,200. Oops, here it is. Let me one more time. I hold on to the control key. I click on 300 all the way to 1,200. And as you see, two columns are highlighted because I want to know my rent, which is this much, on a pie chart. I want my food, which is this 1,200, on a pie chart. Therefore, I want these numbers and the names on a chart. That's why I highlighted both of them. Now, I come back here and I go to Insert tab because I want to insert a pie chart. After I click Insert, it is asking me, what do you want to insert here? What I look at here, because the book is inserting, do you see there is a pie chart here? I click here, and I wanted a three-dimensional, 3D pie. Here it is. I choose this one, and when I choose, look at here, I see my rent, which is in blue, my food, and there are three big items here. One is blue. I look at here, blue is my rent, and the green is my car, that's $200, and a gray, which is $2,000, my tuition. These are the three big items. Now, one problem I have in here is that I don't want the chart to be here on top of my numbers. How nice it is. Of course, I can move this chart. As you see, I drag it from here, but how nice it is if I could move it to a new sheet to make sure it has its own sheet. Do you see here is written move chart right here? I click on that and I click new sheet. I wanted to move it to a new sheet. I click here and I click OK. And here I have a pie chart here, which is in here. Now I can customize it the way I want to, and I can do whatever we want. Suppose if I don't like, look at here, here is this kind of pie. If I don't like this kind, I can have it this one. By clicking on this one, it puts what my expenses, different expenses are. I mean, rent is here. As you see, tuition is gray, car is blue. I click on this one, that gives me the percentage. That means my expenses, 30% of my expenses are for my rent, 10% food. And if I click here, another type of pie chart will appear. Therefore, I'll go back to the original that it was. And therefore we will come back, and in the next video we are going to continue this program that is recording my lecture, allows each lecture to be 15 minutes, and now it has gone to 14 minutes. That means I have 1 more minute of lecture for this video, and I am happy that it gives us 15 minutes only. Then I get a coffee break, and then I'll come back. Okay, I am going to save this and publish it to my YouTube channel.